See, right here, I used to read these to figure out what the season was going to be like. But I really like this one because they got in depth and stuff. But you still don't go off of these so-called analysts. As you can tell, check this out. So, right here, USC receivers are not even in the top 10. The top 10 apparently was the Texas receivers. The backfields, USC's is not in the top 10. The lines, USC's is not in the top 10s. UCLA is, though. Keep paying attention to that. The defensive lines, the Wild Bunch too, is nowhere to be found on this list. Linebackers, nowhere to be found on this list. Secondary, nowhere to be found. And they got, apparently, featured Troy Polamalu here. Like, look at this. Where's this at? Look at this. No USC players as punters, none as kick returners, no free safeties. A strong safety, they do have Troy Polamalu right there. Let's see, Troy Polamalu is right here. Number 2. So they have that right. Mike Dawsey was way better than him. And that was included in the pros too. Cornerbacks, nobody. They got Ricky Manning, though, in there. And then for free safety, they have Matt Ware, for both from UCLA. This is what I'm talking about. They had 2 UCLA players in here. Receivers, with all those good receivers they had, nobody. They had Sean McDonald up in there, like over Kareem Kelly, like wow. But they had these receivers, no USC outside linebackers. They did have Mike Pollard in there. They did have him as an inside linebacker, the 22nd best. But tackles, no USC players at all. Quarterbacks, you can see right there, Carson Palmer is ranked 12th right there. And I knew he was the best quarterback of all of this in 2002. But this is where they had him at. Tight ends, no tight ends whatsoever. Centers, none. Guards, none. Tackles, none. I'm telling you, like, this is just reading this or something else. So let me go here. Let's go to the Pac-10 preview part. Okay, so here's the Pac-10 preview part right here. Now, where is that at? Let me see here. Look at nightmare schedule. USC. Well, they only lost 2 ball games, so for a nightmare schedule, they survived it. They did not have faith in this team at all. Look at this. The most overrated player. Just read that. Sorry, Carson Palmer, but great expectations come with being a 6'5", 225-pound, 3-year starting quarterback at USC, and you have failed to deliver. Palmer is 16-16 as a starter and has thrown as many interceptions as touchdowns. He also is an aggressive, or an aggregate 3-3 against the Trojans' key rivals, Notre Dame and UCLA. Furthermore, Palmer is 0-2 in bowls, having lost to Utah and TCU. All of that has come in a program that annually attracts some of the best talent in the nation. At least Palmer, who to a degree also has been a victim of a lack of steady support, has 1 more year to get things right. And you can see they was big wrong about that. He ended up becoming the Heisman Trophy winner. And then here's the best bets. This is how you know analysts don't know nothing. For the 21st consecutive season, the Pac-10 won't feature a Heisman winner. The last conference player to win the bronze bauble was USC tailback Marcus Allen in 1981. It's also safe to say the Pac-10 will go an 11th straight season without producing a national champion. Well, yeah, that was pretty close. The last to do so was Washington, which got a share of the crown in 1991. Following a tough loss, either Makovic, Toledo, or Neuheis will mumble something in a post-game news conference about opposing coaches using unethical recruiting practices. I'm telling you, they were dead ass wrong on this. They did talk about USC going retro with the new uniforms down in the togs, similar to the ones of the men of Troy during the 60s, which those jerseys are better than these ones. I really do like those jerseys with the yellow tongues on the side of where the shoulder pads are. Very, very good jerseys. But they was just dead ass wrong here. They was not right at all. You know, here they talk about, let's see, the Poly. I think this is the Poly 5 they feature there. You know, got some real good players there. Halati Nada obviously went on to have a successful career in the NFL. But the Poly 5, Mercedes Lewis, I guess he just wanted to be different. He went to UCLA. But Darnell Bing's on there. Winston Justice, Herschel Dennis, Manuel Wright. They're all on this list. And Darnell Bing, let's see, I did mention him already, I think. He's on the list. They all went to USC. And they all had pretty good careers in college, I'll say that. Interesting players, though. Antoine Smith, I wonder whatever happened to that guy for UCLA. Didn't get to see him play too much. But I'm just looking at this, and they was just wrong on so many levels. They was just wrong. Like, Washington is number one. They're number one. And then you got Washington, that other one was Washington State. Then you got them at number 2. And then here's USC. It was ranked number 3 in the Pac-10 at that time. And they just kept talking about, the players being inconsistent, which, I can see that, but they said Kelly has had Palmer-like flashes of greatness and mediocrity alike. It didn't help that Kelly was limited in spring drills by a hamstring injury. But they went on to have a great senior season, both of them. Carson Palmer became that quarterback. And they're saying that was his last chance to become the star that USC had expected him to be. And he answered the call for sure. They mentioned Jester Fargus, McCullough. They also mentioned Sonny Bird in there. But yeah, this is pretty in-depth, of all this stuff they have. They had concerns with the Wild Bunch. Darryl Rideau and Kevin Arbett. I think Arbett got injured, initially. But this was the starting lineups right there. Kareem Kelly, Jacob Rogers, Lenny Vandermeer, Norm Katnick, Zach Wilson, Eric Torres, Alex Holmes, Kerry Colbert, Carson Palmer, Justin Fargus, and Chad Pearson. Then Kenichi Udeze, Bernard Riley, Sean Cody, Omar Nazel, Melvin Simmons, Mike Pollard, Matt Grudegood, Kevin Arbett, Troy Polamalu, Deshaun Hill, Darryl Rideau. David Davis, he did not kick. It was actually Ryan Killeen, who went on to have a real good career for USC, and then Tom Malone. But yes, this was a pretty solid, talented team. This is my thing. I saw the talent in this team before Sporting News. I just knew that this team was going to be good and that they was going to get it right, and they did exactly that. And then they set the tone for the other teams, like I said before in the other video. But yeah, all this stuff here, you got to read this. They talk about Steve Sarkisian, who now is at Texas, doing wonders. Ed Ogerton, he was also on this coaching staff. They don't mention him in here, but he was also on this coaching staff. This team they was really good. They was solid. They had some injuries, but they didn't really have too big of injuries. They pretty much were pretty solid. Linebackers, they never got injured. They might have shuffled maybe somebody out a game or two on the line. Maybe, I think Sean Cody did get injured at one time, but they didn't miss a beat when they had Bernard Riley and Mike Patterson. They had some injuries on the line, defensive line for sure, but the linebackers was pretty healthy all year. The secondary, they did have some injuries. I think the only healthiest player was Deshaun Hill. I think he only played every game. But yeah, I'm just going back over this because I told you this was my favorite squad of all the Trojan teams because I'd seen this team had so much potential. I mean, you got Troy Polamalu right there, you know. But I seen this team had so much potential, and they ended up becoming, you know, setting the tone for the national championship teams. But yeah, this is just interesting to see this. And this was back in 2002. And this was in some pretty damn good condition still, like, to be honest, like, to be this old. But yeah, they got other teams and stuff, but I don't really want to go over that. I'll go over that stuff over my other time. But I just wanted to bring that up about those SC Trojans, boy. But yeah, just because you're an analyst and you know how to write good and everything, it doesn't mean you know what you're talking about. You got to know what you're looking at. And I knew what I was looking at.